Trading Nut, episode 108.
Liquidity needs to be in the markets for the bigger players to get an efficient fill on their orders. And you can, if you know where to look, you can identify certain areas on a chart where there will most likely be a lot of liquidity.
The market's going to do something. Your job is not to fight it.
The market never, ever runs away. It's always there.
That personal diary of trading will make you a much better trader than...
I could be right about the direction, but wrong about the trade.
Don't focus on the monetary side.
Trying to make too much money on a trade is what I have seen killed every trader.
Your losses offer you some of the greatest insight you can find into your mistakes.
Relax, learn the process.
Candlestick pattern trading is a freaking trap.
Don't be in a rush to become a millionaire.
Let the market tell you what the market wants to tell you.
This podcast is not financial, trading, or investing advice of any kind. What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the Trading Nut podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today we've got Cas Daamen on the show. Now, Cas is one of the celebrities over there on the Trading Nut chat, in the Trading Nut Telegram chat, and I know these guys are desperate to hear this interview with him, so this is coming up. We did shoot a video afterwards as well. He's a Forex trader. He does work and trade at the same time, so anyone who's working a job, this is going to help you out immensely. You're going to find out what made him different, how he trades, and yeah, the video that we shot after this is going to be awesome as well, so you're going to be able to see how he takes his trades, and in fact, you're going to see exactly, it's like a full strategy. It's a mini course. Let's call it a mini course. So we've got that coming up in just a second. Now, if you haven't been following along, we've started the Forex Simulator challenges this year, so replacing TradingView challenges. That started last week for me. We've had a couple of guys go through it already. Both have come out with positive results, so we haven't had any negative results yet. Some fantastic education. The software allows us to give you a bit more of an in-depth view of how these guys are taking these trades in a retrospective fashion. So we've also got something that you guys can have a crack at as well in the future. There's $1,000, $1,000 up on the line here for anyone that can win the 10 trade challenge. Now, what is that? Head over there to Trading Nut. Check it out. It's under the challenges section. There's some rules. Basically, you've got to get 10 out of 10 trades right. There are some rules to that. I'm going to be opening it up to the floor, so anyone listening, anyone watching the channel can have a crack at it. For details on that, watch the live streams that are happening every week. We're going to try and get Trader versus Trader started up again soon, very, very soon as well. Okay, so guys, there's a couple of other things I just want to quickly make you aware of. So my sponsor, City Traders Imperium, who you're about to hear their ad, they've changed all their rules, right? So it's really, really appealing to traders now, so you can get up to 70% profit split among a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so if you checked them out before and you haven't checked them out recently, go and check the details out now, because their offering is like right up there. Also, if you haven't checked out Sage Capital, my other sponsor, so they are, I had the question the other day, they can take US clients, no problem. So guys, if you do want to check that out, then Sage Capital, their ad will be coming up soon as well. And I did put my Trading Week video up on the YouTube channel in the members only content. So if you do want to check that out, then it's up there. I've got 2 weeks in fact of trading, my best week ever and what followed. So go and check that out. It's worthwhile. You're going to learn a few things there for sure. Also, I do have my strategy video up there. So this is my trendline break strategy that I was able to automate. And if you do want to get hold of that, then you know where to go. You got to join my Robot Builders Club. You're not just going to get that strategy to trade on your behalf, but there's a whole bunch of others in there as well, and you're going to be able to build them and edit them yourself. So guys, that's enough from me. Let's get on with this show. We've got Cas Daamen coming up. Let's do it. Whether you're a struggling trader or a profitable trader, our sponsor, City Traders Imperium, are offering you the chance to become a fully backed Forex trader. That's right, get coached and funded with CTI today. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Nut. We've got Cas Daamen on the show. Now, Cas is from the Netherlands. He's been trading for about 4 years. We're going to hear his story. Funnily enough, big-time listener of the show, discovered in the Trading Nut chat room, and one of my admins picked him out and said, hey, you got to get this guy on. He knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing. So that's why you're here, Cas. Do you want to start off by, I suppose, saying hello to the Trading Nut listeners?
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Cas Daamen. I'm from the Netherlands, 24 years old. I've been trading for around 4.5 years now, and I've been listening to the Trading Nuts podcast for quite some time now. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the stories as to how you first got into it and all that sort of stuff. So do you want to start off, and I'll dive in here with questions as well, and tell the listeners how you found trading and how you managed to get to the point where it's making up 50% of your income.
All right, so I first got in touch with trading when I was still at school studying. I used to study mechanical engineering. I didn't really like it. I just did it because I was pretty good with numbers, and the job afterwards, which you get when you're done studying, would pay very well. So that's why I did it. But then during class, someone showed me a brokerage platform, and I really liked it. I always had a passion for money, so I started to get very interested in it. And then a few weeks later, I asked him again about what it was and what's trading, etc. And then I basically bought my first book. I started studying it next to the study I was following at school, and then quickly realized that I really loved trading and I didn't really like what I was doing at school. So after around, I'd say 6 months, I quit school, which I don't recommend to anyone, but I did it. It was my parents really they stood behind me. They didn't pressure me at all to stay at school, so that was kind of a good thing. And they know that if I want something, I basically get it. So they never doubted me, and that's where it all started for me.
Okay, cool. And so what was the trading book that you got?
It's a Dutch book. I don't think many listeners will know it, but it was a really basic information about trading, so it wasn't really that special, but it's learned me the basics about it.
And I suppose that's a tough decision to quit school. What age were you, and how hard was it for you to decide to, like, I'm going to quit and go after trading?
I think I was around 19, I believe, almost 20, and well, to me it was kind of a relief because I knew I wasn't at the right place during that study, so I knew it was the right decision to pursue trading. And yeah, it's a bit risky because I don't have any degrees right now, but I've always been focusing on my path. I don't really look at the norms or what other people are doing. I just focus on what I feel is right, and I do it, and I give it my all. And I didn't really have a big problem with making the decision, to be honest.
And why do you think you have that sort of mentality? Is there anything that happened in the past that you think may have attributed to you being that kind of person where you don't really care what other people think, you just get on and do what you do?
I think I've learned it from things I've experienced. I don't really know exactly what experience triggered it, but I think it kind of developed. I also have quite a hard-working personality. I got it from my dad. I think I'm also pretty disciplined, which I basically teach myself over the years. I think from around 16 to 19, I really started into working out and eating healthy, and it really gave me a lot of discipline. So I knew that if I would drop out of school, I would still stick to my plan, and I wouldn't be lazy and just watch Netflix all day. So that really helped me.
Nice. All right. So you quit school. You've decided this is what I'm going to do. How did that play out?
Well, first, I think the first year I started to learn as much as I can from all the resources out there. So internet, a few books, and I really started to get a lot of information and to know a lot about the markets. And then I basically started trading a discretionary trading method, and I traded for around 2 years until I figured out that it didn't work for me. It didn't fit with my personality because I'm really a black and white thinker. So I'm really objective about things. I like rules. I like numbers, and a discretionary method didn't fit with me at all. So that's when I realized I need to change something. And that's when I searched for a mentor, which the mentor also traded a way that fitted with my personality, and that was very important. And that's really when things started to change for me.
And how did you find that mentor? I mean, what was the process that you went through? Just jumping in here with a quick message from my sponsor, Sage Capital, who provide education software and tools needed to increase anyone's ability to trade more successfully. Perfect for people who are either still learning, too busy, or just want to use professional grade strategies to build passive income. They've achieved high returns with relatively low risk and are available for auto copying today. Go to sagecapital.co.uk and start auto trading today.
I heard him on another trading podcast, and I really liked his view about trading and using statistics to trade with, and that's got me in contact with his website. I searched for content he put online, and that's when I really started learning.
Okay, cool. And so, do you want to give us some detail around what what the strategy might have been when you were discretionary trading versus what you discovered with this new guy?
Yeah, so a lot of people know this method already. You interviewed a few guys that already trade this method. It's the Y-curve method. It's a discretionary method. I still use it today, but it's more in the background. I've basically now developed a strategy that's around 90% mechanical and 10% discretionary. The discretionary part is still the Y-curve method, just because I really understand it, and I studied it for years and years, so I really know how it works. But trading it alone just didn't work for me, and I had to find something to fit my personality, and that's where the mechanical part came in that I learned from the mentor I followed.
Okay, and so how were you determining that the strategy was going to work?
I did a lot of backtesting. I trade around 12 pairs right now, and I have a lot of spreadsheets filled with data of every single pair. And I basically backtested the mechanical part of my strategy, because that's possible. You cannot backtest discretion. So I backtested the mechanical part, and I wanted to make sure that mechanical part has an edge. Otherwise, I wouldn't trade it. And yeah, that's basically how I did it. A lot of backtesting.
Okay, and where does the discretion kick in? Is it in the entries, exits, or somewhere else?
The discretion kicks in with the stop loss placement. So I use my statistics for target placement and entries, and the stop loss is based on discretion.
Cool. And so you took the mentorship, you came up with your strategy, you backtested. What happened when you started applying it?
First, it was quite hard to stick to it. I think the first few months, because backtesting is always different than trading a strategy live. I think everyone knows it. All right, so after the backtesting part, I started trading live, and I didn't really experience that much issues that most people have when they are going to trade live. Obviously, there were some issues because backtesting is never the same as trading a strategy in real. But I really didn't experience the problem most people have, and that all comes down to the confidence I developed while backtesting, because I basically know all the statistics about a trade. Before I enter a trade, I know exactly what to expect. I know the win rate in the past. I know the payout that I can expect when I keep trading like this. I know how to allocate my risk effectively, and that really gave me the confidence to trade it without any problems.
Okay, and so how many? So let's jump into a few of the stats around your trading. So I mean, how many trades are you placing a week?
I'd say on average around 2 to 3.
And how do you deal with the patience and discipline around, not entering more trades, over trading, that sort of thing?
Well, patience is just one of my character traits. I don't know why I have it, but I'm really patient just as a person. And I also think that if you have figured out when you can make money in the market, why then trade? Why then take setups when you don't know if it will make money in the long run or not? I don't really understand it. I don't really understand why people have a lot of FOMO or just want to trade, because if you know when you can make money, then why waste money on things when you don't even know if it will bring you any money or not? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that really helps me.
Yeah, this is an interesting point, actually. So, I mean, you're almost the anomaly around the trading world, and the fact that it just doesn't, FOMO doesn't make sense to you, whereas other people just can't get enough of it. And so I think it does sound like you've got, for me anyway, it sounds like you've got a quite unique personality, which is probably more suited to trading than most human beings out there. Okay, so you're taking 2 to 3 trades a week, and how many trades are you winning? How many trades are you losing? And what's your risk to reward?
My average win rate is, I basically have 2 setups. One setup has a win rate of around 65%. The other one has 70 to 75%. And the risk-reward ratio is on average around 1 to 1.2. So there's not really a big risk-reward ratio, but because the win rate is quite high, I still make decent money in the long run.
All right, so so you talked about trading 12 pairs. I mean, how long do you spend on the charts every day going through and trading and finding setups and that sort of thing?
Not really long. I trade based on the daily chart, and I enter on the hourly. So at the evening before the daily close, I check if there's any bias setting up on the daily time frame, which takes me around, I'd say, 5 minutes. And then in the morning, I check the charts for possible interesting levels that line up with my statistics, which also takes me around 10 minutes. And that's basically it. It's quite a hands-off approach. I don't manage my trades at all. It's just a set and forget strategy, basically. So it doesn't consume a lot of time.
And I mean, I'd be quite interested to find out. So you sounds like you did a lot of back testing. You had tons of spreadsheets and tons of numbers in there. Are your live trades matching up with the back testing you did, albeit you've got discretionary stop loss and that sort of thing? But are they sort of mirroring what you were expecting?
Yeah, they are. I do keep track in my trading journal the impact of the discretionary part to see if it increases the performance or it decreases the performance of my trading. But in general, it really matches the back testing. And that's really comes down to putting in a lot of time. And I think a lot of people find that very boring because I did everything manually. I don't know anything about programming, so I did all the pairs manually and took me hours and hours and hours. But it really helped me to build the confidence to trade as I do today. So, yeah.
And I mean, did you, talking about sort of finances and stuff, I mean, how did you fund your accounts and what account size did you start off with? And have you tried to leverage that in any other way?
I started with a few €100, I believe. I quickly lost, in the beginning at least, before training strategy, I quickly lost quite, I'd say a few €100, euros, I mean. Afterwards, once I finished the back testing and traded the strategy that I'm trading right now, I started using a few €1,000, but I noticed that because I trade the daily chart, basically my lot sizes, I couldn't really calculate them effectively. I couldn't really round them up to fit with my money management. So that's when I decided to start doing an evaluation period for a prop firm, because you get more capital and it really, you can make more money, and it makes it easier to manage your money, because if you trade small lot sizes, you cannot really round it up. For example, if you trade a 0.01 lot and your money management says you have to trade a 0.014, you cannot trade it. And if that's a winning trade, you make less on your winners. And if you round it up on a losing trade, your performance doesn't match your backtesting at all. So trading a small account really didn't work for me, and that's why I'm now doing an evaluation program for a prop firm to increase my account size, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that's what a lot of people back when I first started this podcast kept saying was, people, and funnily enough, people don't say it so much these days, but a lot of the traders were saying, guys fail because they're underfunded, but they wouldn't elaborate on what that was, or maybe it was my fault for not asking them, but I think that's what you're talking about is really what underfunded is, in terms of you're trading a percentage based. You've got percentage-based risk, but if you don't have a big enough account size, you can't necessarily get the exact percentage, and therefore
and then
your stats are all out.
Exactly, and then just because of bad luck, you could be risking more on a losing trade and less on a winning trade, just because you cannot make the lot sizes right, and then it seems like you're not trading good, but it's all about just having a small account, and that's really a big problem.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, if you haven't got a high win rate and you've got bigger risk to reward, you lose a few trades and they're taking more than the whatever it was, maybe 2%, maybe it's creeping into 2 to 3% almost, and it starts to destroy your account, and now you've got your big winner that you're waiting for needs to really hit home, and unfortunately that could even be a smaller account amount because your account has been dwindled down with the losers. So yes, there is something there to think about, guys, in terms of, is your account size too small, especially if you're using percentage based risk on each trade, which I suppose I do recommend, as opposed to just chucking in whatever. Right, so if somebody was, first of all, I suppose, talk us through your situation with, so you talked about you've got a job, you're almost transitioning out of the job, you're making, you're earning sort of 50% of your income through the job, 50% through trading. Sounds like you don't do a lot of time in front of the chart trading, hence why not have a job, because you've got all this extra time. How's that sort of playing out for you in your life, I suppose? And you're only 24, so it's not like you're probably not holding down a family and that sort of thing. What are your
no?
How does that sort of sit now, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, I do believe that trading part-time is the best option for most people, because if your only income source is trading, that can give you a lot of stress. So right now I'm an independent SEO content writer, which basically means I make content for websites and businesses to rank better in Google, and that's what I do next to trading. During the day I do backtest a lot and still try to improve my trading, but trading itself it doesn't really take a lot of time for me. I think in the future I will be trading the same way because it just fits with my personality, and I like to do multiple things. I do have some goals in the future. I want to start my own office in the Netherlands to help people start with trading and to potentially fund people. And I also want to trade for personal investors, and that's basically the goal for the coming years.
And you're talking about, I suppose, helping other people. I mean, you're in that Trading Nut chat room quite a bit, pretty much every day, sharing your thoughts, sharing your insights, sharing your trades. What do you notice about the other guys in the room? I mean, are you sort of seeing any common things or themes pop up where you're thinking, look, if everyone sort of could just fix this, then they'd be so much better off?
Yeah, one thing that really stands out, not just in the chat room, but in general in the trading community, is that everyone is saying that trading is 80 or 90% psychology, which to me is not true at all, because if you don't have an edge in the markets, you can still do all the positive thinking you want, but you will lose money, and maybe you will feel positive about losing money, but you will still lose money. The bottom line is that you need an edge, and good psychology isn't going to fix the lack of edge you have. So I think you first need to figure out, I think the people in general in the trading community first need to figure out who they are and what kind of trading will fit with their personality, because if it doesn't fit with your personality, you are going to make mistakes and it will never work. So I think that's step one, to not fall for the cliche that trading is 80% psychology, but focus on getting an edge that really fits with your personality. I think a lot of people need to start there.
And if, I suppose, talking about where to start and where to go, I mean, have you got a step-by-step sort of roadmap you'd give somebody if you met them in the street and said, hey, look, here's my step-by-step roadmap for you to become a trader, go, what would that look like?
That's a good question. I think, what I did when I first started to learn as much as possible, so from every single source I could find, just to find what I like and what I understand, because that's very important. If you trade empty concepts, it will not work. So the first year, maybe focus on learning as much as possible, and then after the first year, basically get rid of what you don't like and what you don't understand, and focus on the things that you do understand, and then analyze. So step 2 is to analyze yourself and figure out what kind of trading fits with you. I think step 3 will be making a strategy. Step 4 will be doing the testing and really building a lot of data, not just to confirm an edge, but also to build the confidence, because you need it to execute the edge in real time. And then, the next step will be trading it on demo, keeping a trading journal to learn from your mistakes, and then once you're profitable on demo, switch to live trading. Still keeping a journal to still keep learning from your mistakes, because I think that's very important, and a lot of people think a trading journal is boring, but it really helps you to get better. I think that's these are the steps. This is the holy grail.
And just on that second step, I think the analyze yourself step. I mean, how would you recommend somebody get to the point where they can effectively analyze themselves and go, okay, that's the kind of approach I should take? Is there an easy way to do that? Because I think this is probably the hardest thing for most people to do. Is there an easy test or anything you've sort of come across which could help somebody analyze themselves?
I do agree. I think it's the hardest step, because you need to be quite self-aware. The way I did it I just looked back at the days I was at school. I looked back at which subjects I was good at, and it was always mathematics and physics. And those kind of subjects are very number-based. They are very black and white thinking. You're either right or you're not. And I started thinking, and that's really how I think about everything. And that's basically how I figured it out. So I think people just need to look back at their school days, and were they good at math? Did they like mathematics? Did they like physics? And were they good at it? Because I think that can be really telling about how they think about other things.
Cool. That's a good answer. That's a great answer, in fact. Now, what about a price chart? If you're recommending somebody jump on a chart and start educating themselves on 3 things, what would you say those 3 things are?
I would say first, learn about the participants in the market, and learn why they trade and how they trade. I think that's step 1, and you can see that on a chart, but you also need to learn things off the chart. Next up is liquidity. Liquidity needs to be in the markets for the bigger players to get an efficient fill on their orders. And you can, if you know where to look, you can identify certain areas on a chart where there will most likely be a lot of liquidity. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is, I'd say, learn about accumulation and distribution. I think these 3 are the important parts.
And any particular resource you'd point someone to?
I'd say, Wyckoff, there are a lot of videos on YouTube, and about liquidity, there is on YouTube also a channel called Trader Dante, which I learned a lot from, and he also talks about the concept of liquidity. So that's where you can find a lot of information for free.
And also trading that as well, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Thinking about traders' mindset, do you have any special techniques you can share with us?
Not really. I think you need 2 things, and that's discipline and patience. And you can work on both of these things. You can develop discipline by being disciplined outside of trading. So, for example, start working out, because it can really help you build discipline, and it really helps with trading. Patience is quite hard to develop. I don't really know how to do it, but you can really work on your discipline. Perseverance as well is very important. You can also work on that by doing things outside of trading. But I really believe that if you're not disciplined outside of trading, you won't be disciplined with trading. So that's really something to keep in mind.
Yeah, something to think about, people. So are you disciplined in what you do in life in general is a good question to ask yourself. Do you always stray and do the wrong things? I don't know. Hey, next question before we jump into the quickfire round. What do you recommend someone spend the next month mastering?
I would say get to know yourself and then get an edge that fits with your personality.
Okay, and the steps to get an edge, what would you say those steps would be?
I would say step 1 is always to find, like I said earlier, to find things that fit with your personality. But to confirm an edge, I really think there has to be some form of backtesting, either backtest or demo trade it for a year. But you want to confirm that what you're doing had an edge in the past. That's really important.
Okay, jumping into the quickfire round, how long did it take you to go from trading newbie to consistently profitable?
Around 3 years and a few months.
What's your favorite entry setup?
I always enter in phase D of the accumulation phase in the Wyckoff method.
What strategies do you use to exit or manage trades?
I don't manage my trades at all. I have a static target which is based on my backtesting statistics, and that's how I exit my trades.
What's your recommended trading book or resource?
I don't really read that much trading books, but I do like the Market Wizard series of Jack Swager.
What's your preferred broker and trading platform?
I use MT4. I don't use TradingView at all, and I trade with Pepperstone.
Do you want to walk us through the worst trade you ever had?
A worst trade, I don't really have one particular trade that stands out, but the worst trades to me are the ones where I didn't fit, where I didn't stick to my plan. These are the worst trades, and these are the trades I want to eliminate.
And if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
It would be focus on finding an edge that fits your personality, and don't focus on blaming your psychology, because most people trade without an edge and blame their psychology, which is not the right way to go about it.
Cool. And before we wrap up, what's the best way for the traders to get hold of you?
Via my website, which is www.cdfxtrading.com, or on Instagram, which is @Cas Daamen.
Cool. A big thank you to Cas for sharing with us today everything we discussed here, along with all those links that are in the show notes. To find them, simply search for Cas, that's C-A-S, in the search box on tradingnut.com. Until next time, wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. Alright folks, so there you have it, interview with Cas, all done and dusted. Now do remember, we did shoot a video after the show, so go and check that out over there on YouTube. There are links in the show notes. Head over to tradingnut.com, see that video there as well. And all the other stuff that's going on here at Trading Nut. We've got the Forex Simulator challenges going on. We also have the other videos that are going up on the channel. Those 2 videos that I've loaded up there for you to go and check out. So if you're not going to the YouTube channel, please do head over there. Also, for sticking around to the end, I'm going to tell you who I've got coming up on the show in a couple of weeks. So I've got a couple of past guests, in fact, and one of them did very, very well on the World Cup Trading Challenge. So guys, that's coming up on the show. Thanks for sticking around, listening to the end. Remember to hit subscribe, hit like, and if you're on the YouTube, that is. And guys, leave a review if you're a long-term listener. I do really hardly ever get any reviews, so if you want to leave a review, it would be most appreciated in whatever app you're listening to this on. All right, thanks for listening, guys. See you in the next one.